On tonight's season finale of Plush Conversations.
Starting over was daunting.
My big concern was finding a job. So I needed a good place to land.
In April of 2020, he got COVID, was admitted to the hospital on April 3rd, and by April 15th, he was gone. That was traumatic. To this day, it is still traumatic. They were like, "You're coming with us."
This is the closest thing she has had to a hostage video.
So,
Nene, if you're okay, blink once.
The houses were ridiculously expensive.
And I ended up designing that section of the house.
Did you draw out plans for a husband?
Which frustration do you want?
Are we actually going to get into this house? Are we going to go to closing? We had to go through the whole weekend. Is this closing going to happen? We were homeless. We were homeless.
I was done with the process. I was like, I do not want to talk to anybody else until it's straight. I mean, we kind of skipped over all of the other frustrations in the process that we had. It, at that point, was just an emotional break for me.
It was a crazy movie. Yeah. I wouldn't want to go through it again.
And sit tight. On tonight's finale, we have a full house tour. You won't want to miss it.
I'm going naked outside.
I don't think I can say this on camera.
That's why you wait until it's dark, so you can make an escape.
She would definitely be arrested for drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
Or maybe both.
Hi, I'm Michelle, also known as Nene.
Hi, I'm Bernard.
Hi, I'm Nicole.
And we've had the Plush experience.
On tonight's finale, I had the utmost pleasure of sitting down and having a family affair, a 2-for-1 special. Join me as the Andre and Pratt family reminisce about their new home buying experience and our surprise guests who pop in and tie it all in together. Let's talk about it. All right, welcome Andre fam, Pratt fam. How are you guys doing tonight?
Awesome.
Great.
Doing awesome. Just happy to be here.
I know that's right. You guys look amazing, by the way. Nicole, you're such a beauty. Mom, same thing every time I see you.
Thank
you. And then, but hold on. Who is this handsome guy in the middle? Yeah.
Honey.
That guy. So I am extremely, actually very excited to interview you guys tonight because literally this is a grand way, because I did tell you that you're going to be my season finale. So I'm very excited because we started off with a bang and then we're ending with a bang and kind of tying this in. So I'm really excited about that. So
Awesome.
Yay. So if you can just tell me, how did we meet?
We met at a lovely couple's housewarming party. This is my other mother and my other father.
Oh, wait. Oh, another one.
I'm back. There you are. So the Bennett family. Yes. If viewers remember from the first episode, the season premiere was with the Bennett family. And here we are ending it with, well, the first season with the Pratt and Andre family. So we met at this housewarming.
Yep.
Yes.
A family affair.
Yes. It was a family affair, a beautiful new home. And we were like, how do we build our own beautiful home? And so we started the conversation then. And I think about a year later is when we got back in touch.
Was moving to Maryland actually in your mind somewhere? Or was this just like, hey, we came here and we decided? How did that come about?
We always had thoughts about moving somewhere else. We were living in New York. We were living in a cramped apartment. And we knew that we were going to have to make a change at some point, sooner than later. But Maryland was always kind of the dark horse. We had considered other places like Georgia. It kind of really presented itself once our family, our circle started coming down.
Yeah.
So,
I remember when I came into the housewarming and
uh-huh.
to get back there and y'all were on it, like, tell me how, and I was excited. I was like, they want to come here, right?
Yeah,
From
we
our
were not
corner,
playing around.
Nicole was trying to convince the kids that this was happening.
Yes, we had at least one child who was a little bit resistant.
Yeah.
Very much so.
But
She
we
was not
just
with it.
slipped away over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't even talk to me the whole time.
She didn't
Yeah.
talk to us after that either. It's okay.
And then that's where we met you too, Nene. So talk about that for you, Nene. Were you specifically wanting to come down? I felt like you kind of had a incentive to come down.
Yes, it was something that I really wanted to do. I did not want to stay in New York, especially if both my children were not there and all of my grandchildren were not there. So at that particular time, I was working on my husband and trying to convince him to move to Maryland. And ultimately, he agreed.
When did you all decide that I was going to be a realtor, or did you even have a choice?
That's a very, very good question. I think what happened is we knew you were going to be our realtor. I'll admit that I had actually forgotten your name. I know I'm going to get beat up for that. But I remember being in bed with Nicole at the apartment. We were just talking, I promise. And I think, we were talking about what our next steps were going to be. Are we going to build a house? Are we going to move into a already existing place? She said, well, let's talk to that person we met at Miss B's house. And that's how it happened.
I got you.
The decision was made about you at the housewarming.
Yeah.
Miss B's daughter, Trina, said, oh, you have to meet Simone. And maybe Miss B said, you have to meet Simone. She's the most awesome realtor. Even if you're building a house, you want to have her in your process. And so that was kind of set in my mind already.
Yeah. And look, I remember at the housewarming, Bernard probably doesn't remember this, when he was telling me about what he does, I was like, so can I get like a free like foot surgery or hand surgery? I got a little carpal tunnel going on. Like, and he literally looked at me because he doesn't know if I'm joking. He's like, I mean, I guess it would depend on, the hospital's rules.
That sounds like something I would say.
What were some concerns, if any, that you had when thinking about this move and realizing this was probably really going to happen?
Well, we had a couple of concerns. One is that we had our daughter who was in high school and still is in high school. She was going to a school that she loved very much. And so it was always a question of whether we wanted to move now or wait for her to finish high school. But we also wanted to do the best thing in the long term for our family, which was, buying a house and having this investment. I think there was also concerns about our sort of people, our network in New York and all of the activities we were part of, and whether we would have, the same experiences in Maryland. Starting over was daunting.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Nene? Did you have any concerns?
Well, yes, my first concern was whether or not I was going to be able to sell my house. So that was a concern. And then it also leaving my church family in New York.
What about you, Bernard? Did you have any concerns?
My big concern was finding a job. So I needed a good place to land. Finally, I landed at a great place, a prominent medical center in Annapolis. So it ended up, for all of us, it ended up being that those concerns ended up being unfounded.
This was supposed to be a 2-family move, not just a 1 family. So we have the Andre family, and then we have the Pratt family. So when we initially met, this was going to be 2 families, 2 different abodes, relocating 2 separate ways. But, life has its way, and without a moment's notice, everything changed. And Nene, if you would be so kind, what was that change that occurred that totally altered all the plans you had?
I had finally convinced Tom, my husband, to move to Maryland, and we were going to do it like in like 4 to 5 years. And in April of 2020, he got COVID, was admitted to the hospital on April 3rd, and by April 15th, he was gone. The plan that I had for us to move together in our own home could no longer happen. That was traumatic. To this day, it is still traumatic, and I'm trying to push through it. But my wonderful children here, especially Bernard and my granddaughter Maya,
Not me.
no, did not give me a choice. My plan was perhaps to move into some senior housing or something, and I was told I was not going to be doing that I was moving in with them. So it was a kidnapping because they really didn't give me a chance to say yes or no. They were like, "You're coming with us."
This is the closest thing she's had to a hostage video.
So, and then later on down the road, Bernard wants to know, did we give you a choice? No, you didn't. You did not give me a choice. You just told me what I was going to do.
Nene, if you're okay, blink once.
I remember that though, like, I don't know, it might have been Bernard that said something to me about it. And I was like, what do you mean? No, like, why would she live somewhere else? Like, that doesn't make sense, you know? And and that was the thing, Nicole. You're right. You're the one that called me, and that was a phone call. It was, hey, this happened, and we need to go.
Yeah.
That is how that went. And you guys are awesome. Like, not for nothing, I'm totally against kidnapping, but but this was the best ever because Nicole put her brain to work. So we'll talk about that going down, but you actually did some really cool things to make sure that she wasn't just like living in a room in the house. Like, she literally has her own, I like to call it oasis. Okay. So we'll definitely talk about that. But yeah, that's one hostage story I will stand behind and say it was supposed to happen. You were supposed to be there and nowhere else.
You aided and abetted.
After the fact. After the fact. And before we move on, let's have the Bennetts come in because you guys were not the only kidnappers. I don't really think I don't think you guys even had a choice on coming because I felt like this home, housewarming was kind of like an intervention for you guys to like come on down. See how great we're living? You should come too. That's what I felt. So talk to me about it. Yeah. You have to get them down here.
Listen, we had to show them what it looked like to build a home and what it looked like to live in another place other than New York. We knew once we listen, they wasn't the only ones we got down here.
It's a whole tribe.
There's a whole, the whole circle went south.
Yeah.
Like a flock of geese, we went south.
We had one family in New York.
And we're working on that.
And they're being worked on heavy right now. And don't worry, they're coming to get the plush experience.
That's right. You told them there's no other realtor in Maryland, right?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, for sure.
They don't exist.
This actually should be called a family affair. Like, that should be the theme song for this.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
That is what it is, exactly. Thank you. Well, I'm glad that you guys were able to come in, Bennett family. I call you guys, affectionately mom and dad. And I'm glad that you guys were able to come for this because it wouldn't be a complete, show without you guys showing your faces. So I'm really glad that you guys were able
glad to be here. And we're so glad that they're here.
Yeah.
And we're glad that they're 6 minutes away.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is 38 years.
Right.
And we have t-shirts to prove it.
Yeah.
38 years of friendship.
Yes.
And so mom's daughter is best friends with Nene's daughter,
Correct.
with Nicole.
Yes. Right.
And they were 2 years old when we met.
Right.
I really
It
do.
is.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
for
Well,
inviting us.
Simone, though, you forgot on the friends. Maya and Ebonique's daughter are really good friends.
So
So
three
it's like
generations of best
of
friends.
So 3 generations of best friends.
Yes.
Mom and mom,
Yes.
daughter, daughter,
Yes.
and then
Granddaughter,
daughter, granddaughter.
Yes. And we're all back down here together.
Mhm.
Like
6
it's,
minutes apart.
it's amazing to me,
But
honestly.
we're not like 6 minutes apart.
Oh no, he's liking it too.
I'm having a good time.
He's good with
I'm
it.
having a good
He's
time.
good with it.
They adopted me.
Did
so
we
I'm having
tell
a
you
good time.
how Miss B actually introduced us?
No, wait a minute. I need that story.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
I do need the
Tell it
story.
in a nutshell. Well, essentially, Miss B was Bernard's
No.
patient.
No, he
Oh,
was
Mr. B was Bernard's patient
Right.
first, and then Miss B met him and decided that he was perfect for me.
Yes.
And so she began working on him for what, 6 months?
At
While
least.
while he was examining Mr. B, I was examining him.
Yeah.
So Bennett fam, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. And then
Yeah.
the decision is made. We're moving to Maryland.
Yep.
So how did we decide that we're gonna go new build? Was that always the thing, or were you looking at resales as well?
Originally, we were looking at regular houses in New York, thinking we were going to still stay in New York. No matter what we found in New York, the houses were ridiculously expensive. When we decided to go to Maryland, we were looking at places here, and we couldn't find anything that kind of fit what we wanted.
The in-law suite on the first floor was a big
That was a big
determination
thing, yeah.
about the houses we were looking at. And that's why I think ultimately when we were looking at resales, we were like, well, there's not a lot of resales with first floor in-law suites.
Yeah.
And that's really when we started to look seriously at new builds.
Okay, now we decide, okay, we're gonna do new build.
Mhm.
This was a process. How did we, talk to me about that process and how we ended up with at least the community that you're in right now?
Well, you found
So
the.
I found the builder. Well, I remember one day just texting Nicole and saying, "Hey, listen, I found this builder. They supposedly specialize in Southern Maryland." It turned out that they were in the process of finishing a community that ended up being 6 minutes away from them.
6 minutes away.
Yes, like literally, that was the first of many look at God moments. So Miss
it was-
B's over here cheering
And dancing.
and dancing.
Well, the other big plus about the community, the development that we ultimately chose is that it's literally 3 minutes away from both of our children's schools.
Yeah.
And so that was really important
Mhm.
to us as well. We could be really involved in their academic lives, and so it wouldn't be a big, long commute for them.
In a good school district.
Absolutely, and you didn't have to do anything, just live. So Nicole devises this. We talk to the builder. She realizes we can custom build. And what do you do, Nicole?
We looked at so many different plans, I remember, and we were trying to figure it out, like how could we get this in-law suite? There was one plan that we really liked, but it didn't have that first floor in-law suite, but it did have a formal living and a formal dining in addition to a family room. I was like, I don't really think we need a formal living room. And so I spoke with the builder and I said, do you think that we could, make some changes to the plan? And so we were able to essentially convert the formal living room and expand it into an in-law suite. And I ended up designing that section of the house. I just kind of drew it out for them and faxed it to them. And they were able to get their engineers to, create the formal plans.
Did you draw out plans for a husband?
I could have never drawn a plan as perfect
Uh-huh.
as the husband I ended up with.
That.
She didn't have to. She had me.
I know who did draw a plan.
B was drawing out
He drew
plans.
the plan for me.
this particular question never gets old. I ask it to every client. And honestly, that's because it's actually extremely relevant. Frustration. In every process, especially with buying, it can get a little dicey, it can get a little frustrating, and we've heard a lot this season. Please talk to me about of any point in time or times where things might have got a little for a second and kind of what we did to combat it, satiate it, how we handled it.
Which frustration do you want?
I'm gonna say this for I'm not somebody that I don't think I'm somebody that shows that they're worried a lot. There was a point where I was like, can I say WTF? Like I was like, what the heck is going to happen here? You know, are we actually going to get into this house? Are we going to go to closing? Okay, and that was a couple of days before the closing, right?
Yes.
The was it the assessment on the house? Like the assessment didn't come through at the right price, okay, at the right purchase price.
But it was an error.
And it was an error. And this error happened on a Friday. And we had to go through the whole weekend, like,
not knowing.
Is this closing going to happen? Do we have to get another person to come in here?
And we were staying at Miss B's house at that point because we were temporarily just
we were homeless.
in Maryland.
We were
until
homeless.
The
All three of us were homeless.
We were homeless.
We were all staying there. Our kids
Nomads
were in New
leaving.
York, and we were staying at Miss B's house. But I remember that weekend, I didn't talk to anybody. It was I was done with the process. And I apologize to you, Simone, because I was like, I do not want to talk to anybody else about this process until it's straight.
Mhm.
And so,
I remember I got and it's funny because I have other couples like this where the husband calls me quietly and this call, yeah. And it's like, I remember this specific, we had a few, but this one you called because you're right. This was talking about the appraisal.
Yeah.
And people don't think there can be an issue with appraisal on new builds. That can very well happen. And Nicole was MIA and Bernard calls me and he's whispering, he's like, Simone, Nicole is visibly shaken. We cannot have her like this. What can we do? We need to fix this. I don't want her on any more calls. I don't want her doing anything until we figure this out. And I was like, yes, sir, but I get it. I get it. So what was happening with you at that point, Nicole?
well, I mean, we kind of skipped over all of the other frustrations in the process that we had, right?
This was a build.
This is a 7-month process at this point. I mean, we had issues like getting to groundbreaking, right? Like we had issues before we even get to groundbreaking, we had issues getting the plans for the house that would go into the permitting process, right? And so now, and then this was all build was happening during a pandemic. So there were issues with materials, there were delays with things coming in, with all of these challenges throughout the process. And, to come to that point, literally 2 days before the closing, and to hear that the appraisal was just wrong and we could possibly not close, it at that point was just an emotional break for me. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not dealing with this process. Sorry, Simone, but I was like, I'm not dealing with Simone. I'm not dealing with the mortgage broker. I'm not dealing with anybody. Simone, Bernard, you take it from here, because I'm not talking to anybody until it's straight.
So I need to see beautiful Maya, and I want to know the result. How did she do in her first year?
She did great. She thrived. She didn't survive. She thrived. And she's done an amazing job. She ran track, and she's essentially she's an academic she's a what do you call it?
Can I do this part?
Okay, fine.
Yes.
I want to brag, but obviously I can't brag properly.
Like, you don't brag right.
You're not talking right. Okay.
Wait. Yeah, do that part.
Mom's
Come
job.
Maya, come Maya. Bring the awards.
Bring your
No, go ahead.
She said, bring the award.
Bring all the awards.
bring your papers.
Bring your baby teeth while you're at it.
She has more than survived. Maya like killed it in school this year. Awards on awards. These are all of her like principals honor awards. This is her A honor roll award. And then this is her principal's honor roll award.
There's more.
And then
coming.
this is her junior delegate award. And this is her National Society Honor Society award. And then these are her varsity letters. Can you see them? And then this is her, you know, sort of outstanding athlete with academic honors awards. So just, again, really super proud of her.
Did either of you guys have any misconceptions, you know, before you got into the process, and then you get into the process, you're like, this is not what we thought?
Every twist and turn throughout this journey was completely unexpected. There were highs, there were lows. We laughed, we cried. It was a crazy movie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go through it again. Not without Simone.
I was just gonna say, I didn't think that for a new build, that we would need a realtor, but Simone, I don't think we would have been able to go through the process without you. I mean, just, you know, moving to a new state where the process is completely different, negotiating with the builder, even trying to get them to talk to us at certain points. And then, you know, what we went through at closing, like you were there in the clutch. I mean, I think we just talked to you every single day. I mean, it was so bad that like after the closing, we were like,
What are we supposed to do
Yeah.
now?
we haven't talked to Simone. Like, we gotta
Yes.
call Simone.
I missed those Wednesday
That's
morning
what I was
meetings.
about to
I
say.
missed them.
Remember, it was
What?
Simone that actually proposed the idea of those Wednesday morning meetings and organizing those meetings every single Wednesday, where we were kept abreast of what was going on.
Yeah.
So, and she held the builders accountable to the point where they had no choice but to speak to us every week, scheduled, so that we could know what was happening.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you
It wasn't easy,
how much
though.
we
It
appreciate
wasn't
that.
easy. Every process does have at least one hiccup. And so I do say, from the outside and having experience with other clients, I do feel like your process was definitely a little rough. Tell me, what have you done to the home since you've closed?
So when you first come into the house, the most important thing to me was the sort of grand entrance. For years, I had been saying to Bernard that I wanted a 2-story foyer. For that foyer, you know, we picked a lighting fixture. I wanted something that was pretty sophisticated, but also simple. We have 2 statues by the doorway, kind of protectors for us, the way that I think about them. Off to the right of the entrance is the office. A pretty, again, minimalist sort of style for the space. I wanted it to be light and airy so that when I'm working, there's a lot of natural light coming in. Off to the left of the entrance is the dining room. I love that we have in it our table from our apartment in Brooklyn. We have elements throughout the house of our apartment in Brooklyn. That's really important that we kind of keep some of the items that were important to us and that were part of our living space. One of the pieces I really love is called The Gift. It's a painting by Charles Bibbs. It really represents that this house, this space is a gift, it's a blessing.
Just a little past the formal dining room is my royalty suite. I am a bling person, and when I walked into the store and I saw that bedroom set, that was what I wanted. Also, I do have my blinged out fan, and it's a retractable fan. It is just a space fit for a queen.
Just past Nini's Royal Suites, we have our grand gourmet kitchen. It is all white cabinets, Our island is dolphin gray. We have some oil rubbed bronze poles on our cabinet, and we had a backsplash installed aftermarket as well. I personally love the morning room, a place to kind of sit down, relax, have coffee, have high tea. It's just a space that I've always wanted and really do enjoy. The family room is a vision. I designed the space so that it's symmetrical. I also wanted to sort of carry forward that minimalist with some color, with some texture in the space. They kind of have like an African bohemian vibe. So let's talk about the console table. So I've always wanted a statement piece in the house. It's called Mosaic Inlay. I love that it's unique, and I love that it's in a common place where everyone can see it. As you come up the stairs, there's a guest ensuite. It has French doors, which I love. It makes the space feel open for our guests. Here we have our owner suite, which is our oasis. It is literally the size of our first condo that we ever lived in. We have our king bed here, which is amazing. And we have a lovely sitting room, which is like our exercise room, a meditation room, a bar, depending on the day. We have our walk-in closet, and I definitely wanted to have a window in the space. And last, but certainly not least, we have our owner's suite bathroom.
And now we're going to go on down to the basement. Lighted stairs take you downstairs. To the left, you'll find the kids' study. We're really proud of this area. It's a really quiet area, and Nicole has done a really good job of decorating it to make it conducive to studying and remote learning. Basically, our whole living room from Brooklyn is downstairs. We have a TV down there that's normally used for video games. And behind that, you have the bar, the wet bar, which ends up becoming a congregating place. Next, we have French doors, which lead into the media room. About 240 square feet of viewing pleasure. There's a 120-inch screen. It looks like an IMAX theater in here. The sound in this theater is enough to shake the house.
And guys, let's not forget about the perfect deck outside.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for that amazing walkthrough.
Thank
Now
you.
we're going into the plush round.
Okay,
We're
here we
ready.
go.
Maya's joined us for Plush Round as well.
Yes, Maya, and you joined us, so now you are forced to answer some questions, all right?
Okay.
If you had to choose between going naked outside or having your thoughts read for an entire day, which one are we choosing?
Oh, I'm
Naked
going
outside.
I'm going naked outside.
Y'all don't want to be inside here.
You don't want to know the thoughts.
You know, we're going naked.
Definitely the naked.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So what would you do? What would be the first thing you would do if you woke up the opposite sex?
I don't think I can say this on camera. I would scream.
Nicole said she's gonna go look to see what she's working with. Oh, this is a good one. Have either of you ever practiced kissing in a mirror?
No,
No, I can't say I
I
have.
always had someone to practice with.
Most embarrassing moment in public.
I walked into a glass.
I walked into a screen door and I broke it with my forehead.
Okay, you got to tell me about a screen door. Were your eyes closed?
Could you see?
Yeah, I could see. I thought, no, I didn't know there was a screen.
You're in public. You got to go number 2. You get in there, you do the do, you figure out there's no tissue. What are we doing?
Ooh. That's
Wait
why
until
I
it's-
don't use public bathrooms.
This is why you wait until it's dark so you can make an escape.
Use your underwear.
If you could be invisible, what would you do?
I would sneak on a flight to Dallas and I would attend the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders workouts.
This is the first thing you would do? Can you just at least think about our future? Like, get some money.
No one's.
Just our
You're
future.
invisible with me?
I'm certainly not going to the Dallas Cowboys.
If you got arrested for a reason unknown to friends and family, what would they think you did?
Nene would get arrested. She would definitely be arrested for drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
Or maybe both.
She was over there selling drugs with Miss B. Arrested with no explanation. What would your friends and family think you did?
Sold drugs.
So we have dominated the plush round. You have all survived. And so I thank you all for joining me. You're such a beautiful family. I love you guys. I can't wait to come over again.
Yes.
Until next time. Yes. Thank you so much for joining Plush Conversation.
Big shout out to Miss B and Mr. B.
It was really good. It was really good. I've looked at a couple of them. They're very good.
Yes,
You
congratulations
did a great
for-
job.
on your
Awesome.
first
Thank
season.
Great idea.
Yeah, for real.
I love you guys. The Bennett
Love
family.
you too.
Love you.
Oh, mwah. Bennett
Making
family,
everything
Pratt
possible.
family, Andre family. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for giving me a chance to even be in a part of your experiences. I really
Awesome.
Yeah,
And it would
Thank
not
you.
be an experience without you.
that's
real.
it. That's
We
it.
love you.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm
Thank
still
you.
saying thank you.
You're welcome. You guys have an awesome night.
All
You
right,
too.
take care. Love you.
Love
Everybody
you.
watch.
Bye-bye.
Get yourself a plush experience.
Thank you so much for tuning in and watching our first season of Plush Conversations. Until next time, be blessed.